Wonderful guys in Oscar Autopilot's with us. Oh, you are a legendary human. That's the best name ever in the history of the world. G'day, Beck. Beck's back with us, you superstar. Fantastic. Oh, we're doing well. Fantastic. And how are you going, Gay? You doing fantastically? What's happening, my love?
I've had a really horrible week. No money, no income for 3 months, which is really hard. And I had to take my dog to a neurologist during the week who told me that she's never going to get better. And I can't write.
I'm so sorry. And so, Gay, just for today, even if you just use us for company, right? Organise files and we're with you. Those sort of things are just catastrophic, I know. Just use us for company, Gay, all right?
Thanks.
We're
I
here.
will.
We're here. Fantastic. And Kirsty's here with her lifestyle programming environment once more. Kirsty, are you well?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you.
I'm so excited. Let's do this. And Infocom's back with us, so this is great. Beck's back. Do you notice all the bookshelves backgrounds, Julie? It's amazing, isn't it? Is that, Julie, is that a real background or is that one of those interesting things that you insert?
No, it's real. And it's downsized as well.
Oh, that's very inspirational. That'll help me. That'll get me through the day. And the wonderful Adrian's with us now. Adrian, how are you? That was quite an intense experience, wasn't it, Adrian? My goodness.
Oh, I loved it. It was great. Really, really good. And I'm really grateful for Infocom. And they're here. Hello, Infocom. Because I'm not in a similar position, but I just your questions, Tara. That wham bam, thank you, ma'am, about whether or not Infocom is clear on the abstract. All those little dot points I wrote down, and it's really, really helped me because I'm a little bit all over the place at the moment. I'm writing different chapters at the same time, and it's still my heading. So, yeah, this sort of organization is perfect for me.
Oh, Adrian, mate, that's terrific. And if you can just think about hook out a couple of tasks each day, just hook them out and no judgment. Don't think about the rest of the thesis, just do that task. And of course, in these sort of 30-minute bursts, it's a tremendous way to do that, Adrian. So you've been such an inspirational human in my life that I've met this year. So thank you, Adrian. And look, colleagues, we're all here. Wonderful. Dina's in. Oh, we're so excited with Dina. It's fantastic. Who else? Oh, Diana's in. Hello, Diana. Lovely to see you, Diana. I hope you're well. Fantastic. Oh, that's in a glamorous office too. Your office is much more glamorous than mine. Right, let's do this, colleagues. Please, let's together as a family care for Gay, but 29 minutes. Let's work and work hard and see what happens at the end of it. See you in 29 minutes. Let's do this. Paul, write yourself another article. Let's do it, Paul. Come on, mate. last minute, colleagues. And colleagues, we are finished. Oof. Ooh, that was big. That was big. And look, we'll start, although Adrian's still in his zone, we'll start with Adrian. Good morning, Adrian. You were very intense there. So what happened, mate? where'd you take us during Right Club today?
Well, to be honest, I actually downloaded your PDF on setting up your PhD, which I've done many times before in different ways, but I just, I was kind of inspired, as I mentioned earlier, about what you were speaking about, and now I have a million screens open at once and I can't find Zoom. There we are. And so it's good. It's been good to revisit these questions halfway through my PhD. So
and look, Adrian, if it helps you, mate, what you're writing in response to that or your engagement with it at this stage will almost directly go straight into your introduction and conclusion. In the middle, which is the danger zone, as we've talked about. If you can get the words down, they're going, well, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why am I still doing this? Those key sentences are crucial to the framing of the thesis.
Yeah, well, mine's emergent. It's process orientated, and so it's kind of necessarily all over the place and messy, but you can absolutely get lost in that. And so revisiting these sort of things, I think, is vital.
And Adrian, final comment on that, those sort of theses, and I've supervised a fair number of them in the applied social sciences, particularly in each chapter, the third paragraph, what am I doing in this chapter, and being really careful with that. So hello, everybody. Hello, examiner person. This is where we're at. This is where we've come from. This is where we're going. Just a reminder, this is like a signpost in the tourism journey of the thesis. So that's the way you keep the family together, walking with you through examination.
Right.
Oh, Adrian, meant to see you this morning. You're an absolute legend. Now, the other person we're meant to see is Queen Mary. Mary, how are you? I know you're lost in thought there. What were you working on, Mary? I'm so excited. What were you working on?
I'm getting to the end of my lit review, which is probably twice as long as it needs to be. But anyway, so I'm doing a master's and it's about 11,000 words long at the moment. But I feel like it's probably good for my supervisors to read a fairly long one, because then they'll know how much reading I've done. And none of them are really familiar with the subject area that I'm tackling. So in a way, it's a way for them to get an overview of it. But what I was doing today was just chasing down, those elusive little references where you put it in bold, in square brackets, find reference. So that's what I've been doing today.
Oh, Mary.
Find that page number.
And look, part of me is sort of thinking, go long, girlfriend, go long. Do you really need to have a short literature review? I think not. I think not. If it's of quality and it's exciting and it's well structured, then does it matter, Mary? Isn't that a good thing? It's a new field. Get people excited. Get people into it.
There's a lot to read. You do have to cover a lot. There's a lot of different facets of it, and it's also the chapter also contains my methodologies as well. So I guess it has to be long.
Look, it does. And remember to always write to the deans because we're nice people. And there's always a line in policy for masters and PhDs where if the word length extends the parameters, you can write to the dean and go, I've written long. And a lot of deans like me go, we love long.
Oh, good.
And so we sign it off and we go, knock yourself out, Mary, right? So make sure it's of quality. If you just like, let me take you on a journey through knowledge. If you've decided to like do a Jordan Peterson, let me take you through like 2 millennia of knowledge, then that's a mistake. But if it is all organized and well structured, then you're orienting us into that world. So I think that's a great thing.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Well, good on you, Mary. And look, we'll go to the light of our live show. Let's go to Jane P. Was our other Jane on the call? No, there can be only one. So we've got Jane. Jane, tell us something magnificent that you can change our lives again this week.
Oh, that's actually the right Kawa model that I just learned from an occupational therapist the day before yesterday. So any one of you have heard about the Kawa model? That's the river model. So they imagine the life of person like a river, and all of the challenges we have are the rocks in life, and all the river banks or the river walls are the things both external and internal that regulate us. And then we are the driftwood. So how we are doing to with our life is flowing or create the space to flow. I was a bit pessimistic about what can we do with all the rocks in the bed of the river. But after talking to Daniela, she talked about the importance of the space, because water is so powerful. It's soft, but so powerful, and you can find a way through the rocks.
Oh, Jane, I look at Kylie's face, like the moment Driftwood hit, I was there. I don't know about you, Kylie. I heard Driftwood and went, I'm on Driftwood. I'm on Driftwood. And you don't know you're on Driftwood till you're on Driftwood, Kylie.
I'm on Driftwood too.
We missed you, Kylie. Say it, Kylie, you're on, darling. Talk to me.
We cannot hear you, Carrie.
Oh, Kyles, we haven't got you. Kyles, we can't hear you. Hold on. Ask to unmute. Oh, Kyles, what a shame. Kyles, if you can write it, because it might help Jane enormously. That was clearly important because you're doing the Kylie hand thing. And whenever the Kylie hand things happen, it's crucial. So, Kyles, can you write that down for Jane just so she's got that? Oh, that's amazing. Oh, Jane, you're an absolute rock star. And look, okay, for all of us on Driftwood, we'll go straight to Maeve. Love you, Jane. Maeve, what were you working on during that gig, darling?
Oh, I first have to comment about Driftwood. I was listening really intently because Jane drops pearls. Even when she doesn't think she is, she definitely does. And what I heard, and remember, hearing and listening is its own unique little thing. I heard, not on Driftwood, I heard we are Driftwood. And I was like, oh, yeah, Driftwood. Yeah. So I was like, gone.
Jane, are we Driftwood? We need to clarify that we can't go any further. Jane, are we Driftwood? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh.
We are all Driftwood. I will send you the model into the chat link and you can see that.
Right. Okay. So, Maeve, good corrective. That's the right.
Well, I wasn't correcting. I was uniquely
correcting me.
And sorry.
No, I was going to go correcting me, and like I've discovered bits of myself in that last 30 seconds I didn't know I had. So please continue, Maeve. My goodness.
All right. Well, I was totally not correcting. I was uniquely listening, but Jane drops pearls. So when it's Jane's turn, I have to sort of like pretend I'm not in the room, but think, you know, it's a very particular listening. And I was like, whoa, you know. So I thank you, Jane. I thank you every week. You know that. Oh. And interestingly, Jane and I have now followed each other on everything that you can think of, LinkedIn, Twitter, everywhere. So I think that's a great thing to do as a byproduct of community, because then we have more links with people. We have more ways to express. Anyway, what was I doing? I've realized something that I know and we've talked about, but when I'm trying to process a big new thing, which the psychogeography is, to me. I really do best when I reflect about it, and that way I can just go wherever I like, not try to be quite as focused as academic writing requires. And so, yeah, I've been all over the world this morning. There's feminist psychogeography.
Oh, there certainly is. Oh, yes.
Oh, so yes, very, very pleased about that find. That was yesterday, I think. And like just going to, in a way, relating back to our digital office hours as well. I've had my daughter and grandson with COVID this week. So some of my attention necessarily goes wherever it does, but I still have come to the computer. I still have done something. And I really, like, I know the 3 hours a day, that's great. There are times where you can't do 3 hours a day, and then I go to 1 hour a day. But I still try to bring in that intensity that I'm really, really focused. And then I know I've got other things that are important and I have to go attend to that. So I think that's just reinforcing how well those strategies work. And yes, so I've been all over the shop this morning with psychogeography, and I'm excited about all the ideas that we've talked about recently.
Oh, I think that's brilliant, Maeve.
Yeah.
And look,
So just-
what people are forgetting, Maeve, is that the doctoral space is now studied, right? So it's not a vibe. It's not some experience at Oxford in 1974. We've now got the research, qual and quant, that shows what works. And what works is you touch the thesis every day. So the people that go, I'm going to work on Sundays with intensity, it doesn't work. Just give me something every single day. And that's what, Maeve, you do, and that's how you're going to finish that thesis. We're about to go to Queen Cat. I'm so excited because I see Professor Quentin's about to clearly get on a plane because he's getting even more handsome than usual. Travel well, my darling. Good luck with Al Jazeera this afternoon. I'm excited. See you soon, darling. Love you, babe. Lovely to see you. Queen Cat, tell us something fabulous in your beautifully lit room. What were you working on, Cat?
Hi, Tara. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I've just been working on a paper for I'm a nurse and I'm doing my PhD in resuscitation. I think I've mentioned that to a few of you before in a meeting, but I'm finishing up this paper, which is one of my results papers. So just, yeah, sort of doing the discussion and that section now. So it'll be exciting. So one more paper to do.
Okay, that's fantastic. And how are you finding that mode of writing? Because it's quite different from the rest of the thesis.
Yeah, it is, because it's using my methodology is ethnography. So I'm really having to make sure that I am using sort of that emic and etic sort of perspective when you're writing. So not sort of telling people what I saw or what I observed or my interpretation, but really sort of putting it through the nurse's lens. So that's been, yeah, it's just, you know, it's a learning journey. So I've really had to sort of work hard in that because I'm a registered nurse that's worked in ED, and so I'm looking at it through my lens, but it's also trying to make sure that I'm championing the real nurses' lenses that I've observed. So yeah,
That is
so
fantastic.
Yeah.
And hard writing to do. So I just want to back you because this is I think the hardest writing you do in a thesis, because in this stage in a lot of applied social sciences, particularly allied health, this is the way you write, and these things you don't talk about in this chapter, and of course you want to. So it's quite disciplined writing, but it enables the thesis. So we're so proud of you, Kat.
Oh, thanks, Tara. Thanks for your support.
Oh, you're amazing. Fantastic. And should we go to the other equally glamorous Carolyn? How are you, Carolyn? Are you well? What were you working on, darling? Do you want to say hello and tell us something fabulous?
Yeah, this week I'm with chapter 3, which is my methodology chapter. It's interesting listening to how everybody describes the way that they've grouped their information in the thesis. And but interestingly, what Jane said about the thing, the word I got was flow, because I was just got a section here called Bridging the Two Methodologies, and one of them's phenomenography and the other's constructivist grounded theory. So it's a bricolage approach to talking about the data analysis and projecting some construct for the future. Anyway, it's complex. But I was thinking to myself, I better go back and check the annotated bibliography I set up for the term fluency. So I'm kind of cross-checking that I'm not being too bold and making sure that I've really taken into account what exists, and that my language it doesn't get too bold, is basically what it is. So I'm messing around with small things, and it just happens to be related to flow. And I do actually make reference elsewhere about the river and the flow, and because at the moment in my title is the word fluency, I'm leaning towards creating an understanding that the fluency is probably the more important thing than the constituent parts that a lot of focus is on, if you know what I mean. Anyway, that's enough from me.
No, Carolyn, it's amazing. Do you see how beautiful and granular Carolyn's work is? I think, and again, look, see, Carolyn, I'm so old. I'm like an old cow. I'm bold now. I'm not bothered. I just go, here we go. Here's the references. Sort yourself out. But Carolyn, there's something beautiful and respectful about making sure you're going through the stages. It's intellectually generous to the colleagues in your annotated bibliography. That's beautiful work, Carolyn. That's what good scholars do.
Okay, thank you, Tara.
It's also true. You're a superstar. We should go to a very, very good correspondent of mine this week, the wonderful Julie. Julie, how did you go, and what were you writing on this week, superstar?
I am fixing up a chapter that I want to send to you on context, and reading it, and was just very interested what Carolyn was saying about the fluency, and also about the lens that you use.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to use narrative analysis, but a composite, because I have to hide the identification of my interviewees.
Yeah.
And that's quite complex, because you don't want to put yourself in there, but you have to interpose if you're going to analyze or interpret, aren't you?
Yes. And look, it's methodologically complex, Jules. It really is, because, and you know, insider outsider status may be part of that conversation, as Kat expressed so beautifully, but it might be also about lenses and maybe positionality theory, Jules, going back to some of that fantastic, really nasty, rabid, fantastic positionality theory in the late 1970s. Paul, you and I are dragging the entirety of academic life back about 30 or 40 years, which I'm incredibly happy about. But Julie, going back to that positionality theory, the really radical early stuff, I wonder if that will give you some of the clarity in handling the narratives.
I'll look through that. Thank you. Yeah.
It could be rubbish, but just have a look, because
I will. Thank you.
You were trying to sort through the threads of narrative, trying to also manage the anonymity of correspondence while exploring in and with yourself. And positionality theory probably does that pretty well.
Thank you. Okay.
Let's see, report back. That's terribly exciting. Let's go to the woman who really has her own lifestyle program, Kirsty. Kirsty, what were you doing in that fantastic period?
I've had a bomb put under me by my principal supervisor this week, because I kept procrastinating on writing my article, but I'm very, very excited. So the idea is it's about how the nature, gender and status of the communicator influences trustworthiness and audience receptivity. So I'm writing up the results section, and it's just incredible. And there's I have a feeling there's a tipping point happening. And so with a lot of the responses I've got from the interviews I've done. So I'm finding it really hard not to put my opinion over it as I'm writing. So I'm just really concentrated on, you know, what was said, how many people said it, and, you know, what was relevant. But it's very exciting.
Oh, Kirsty, that's amazing. So firstly, congratulations. That's wonderful. And secondly, as we talked about in the previous sort of digital office hours, it's become a thing this morning. But of course, in terms of a small book, if you want to take that article and then go the next step to a small book, that's where the data set can exist, but your engagement and framing of that becomes the project. So a small, after you've got this article out, that's fine. That's the meat in the sandwich, but the sandwich is all posh and interesting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. It's yeah, it's really cool. And I've gone completely old school, and I've printed everything up and cut it into bits and thrown it everywhere. The cat helped. It was great.
Look, change platforms, move platforms, it becomes different writing. Oh, Kirsty, we all are we thrilled for Kirsty. Well done, Kirsty. You're an absolute legend. Fantastic superstar. Well done. And look, we'll go to the man, the myth, the legend. I can't remember my life before I met Paul. Paul, what magic are you working on at this juncture that's going to change our lives?
So obviously, as you saw, I was kind of decrypting or getting around using Negroponte, what is digital? For a bigger kind of looking at three terms. So I'm kind of digesting what digital means, what traditional means as a term, and what craft is as a term. So the reason I'm doing that is looking at how multimodality can assist in the teaching of craft through different literacies. So I'm breaking down those terms. So currently I'm just looking at craft and where craft came from. So looking at its hierarchical and societal differences between craft and art. Yes. And looking at traditional and where that came from a folklore academic background.
Oh, Paul.
That's where I am.
Well, and mate, can I say, I come into that story a little bit because I was always furious. And of course, because I expressed my rage, I wrote about this, but I was always furious about when creative industries paradigms emerged, how poorly craft was handled there. You know, it was about gaming and popular music and tourism and all that. We love all that stuff. But craft, for so many third tier and small communities, that was the creative industry, right? And so, and just the creative industry's lack of engagement with craft always made me furious. So the idea that you're going back there is just phenomenal.
Yeah, that's and kind of how it intersects and synthesizes with digital, and how we can, understanding what traditional craft is, how we can better disseminate that and teach it and learn it in a digital society or a digital era, and so kind of seeing how they come together. Yeah.
Well, Paul, you can see everybody's faces. Everybody's going, oh yeah. Paul, you keep going, mate. That is just phenomenal. Wow. I can't remember my life before I met you, Paul. Just putting that out there. I can't. I actually can't. Wonderful, Diana. How are you going? What did you write on, Diana? Just say hi to us and tell us something about what you're working on the last 30 minutes, darling.
Hi, nice to meet everyone. This is my first time joining Writing Club. I was working on revising the introductory chapter to my thesis, really working on what you were describing at the beginning of the session, though, that signposting and just making sure that I'm guiding the examiners through and justifying everything that I've included in that literature review and how it links back actually to the thesis aims.
Oh, that's a hard paragraph. That how are you finding it? Was it easy, or was it sort of like really pulling it out of the universe, Diana?
Pretty intensive. Yeah, definitely lots of work, and I guess trying to do that throughout the introduction as well, rather than just a single paragraph. Just really working on all of that, linking everything through.
You are a very wise human, because those links, those difficult sentences, those complicated paragraphs, that's what creates the straight through PhD. That's what creates the A or the 1 PhD. So the examiner is relaxed and calm, and we're moving through and we understand where we are in the thesis, and you're explaining it to us. And so there's no mystery. There's no, oh, I wonder what's going on here. You're calming us down. So Diana, that's fantastic. Well done, you.
Thanks.
You're the best. And look, we'll finish with so many people we want to hear from, but we'll finish with the Queen herself, Dina. Dina, how are you, darling? Because of course you're nearing the end. We've got people at the beginning. You're nearing the end. Tell us what you worked on, my darling.
Hi. First of all, everybody is referencing on Jane about the water. What I was thinking is her last sentence. Water could be soft, but it could also be very dangerous at some point with the tsunami and flooding. And that is because I was referencing on my coding. So there's a village that where they didn't want to be relocated, but they always have annual flooding in that area. So it's the process of negotiating between the villagers and the government and the yeah, that was well, I'm doing my coding at the moment. It's actually in the finalization, so I hope to send it to my supervisor today. So yeah, that's where I'm at now.
Oh, darling. And how are you feeling about it? Do you notice, as we've known Dina, the smiles have got bigger each week? I say it sort of started a bit intense, and now, so are you feeling better? Because it looks like you are.
Yeah, because well, I think it was Kirsty that said that that she's also getting some result from her interviewers, and that what makes me positive, because if you're doing an interview, everything just flows through and you don't analyze it, but then when you sit down and you do your coding, and then that's where you get the wow, I didn't think of it, this is so good, like those kind of stuff. So that probably because I'm at that stage. Before it was only writing, and it's just where I'm always doubting myself. Is this justified enough? Is this strong enough? Am I do it in an academic lens enough? Those kind of things. But when you get to the result of your interviews, and that's where you go, oh, that is why I'm doing my thesis actually. So that is probably why. But then if I'll go through the like writing phase again, probably my face will also be different.
You're doing fantastically. And remember, illustrative data is just as interesting and relevant and provocative as representative data. So never judge the data sets. If something is illustrative, then that's powerful and important in its own terms, Dina. So you are doing magnificently. Colleagues, I feel changed this morning. Paul, I don't know about you, mate. I've changed in the last couple of hours. It's been astonishing. So I thank you all for giving me and sharing this little bit of your life with me. And I'm Driftwood. I am Driftwood. And as we all are Driftwood, wow. As we're all Driftwood, for our colleagues in the middle of the night, please sleep well. And for the rest of us, let's share our Driftwood this time next week. Love you all. Good energy. Kylie, you're the best in the universe. Colleagues, thank you for your time. Wow.
Thank you.
You are the best. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Blessings, Jane. Blessings. See you, Jane.
Thank you. See you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.